Bohemian Rhapsody is one of the most popular songs ever made. It was made by Queen and it is 5 minutes and 55 seconds in length. That means it's longer than your typical song. Let's get right into the discussion. So the song starts out with, is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Which is most likely the protagonist pondering whether his existence is real or not. This is immediately followed by, caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. He realizes that while he is pondering his own reality, he is unable to escape either way. Lesser people may try to use only the first 4 lines to overanalyze the entire song with, but we can do better than that. We can overanalyze the entire song with every single line of lyrics the song has to offer. Then, as the singers continue singing, the piano comes in as support. Now, normally you wouldn't associate keys with rock and roll, unless you know Van Halen. It's a popular song, but I'm saving one of his 1984 songs for a future episode. Stay after class to figure out which one that is. Anyways, because there's a piano, you wouldn't know immediately that this is a rock song, unless you have the context of Queen in your mind. But at the same time, it is very likely that you have the context of Queen in your mind, so we don't gotta worry about that. As the piano starts, you can hear, open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. We're supposed to look directly up at the skies. Don't look directly at the sun, though, as you will very likely damage your eyesight, or even worse, go blind. And if you go blind, you'll have a harder time liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and commenting what you think about this video. Oh yeah, and being blind also makes life itself harder. The next lines of the song are, I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy, which is a boy who knows he's poor, but doesn't think he needs sympathy when in reality he actually does. Then the next lines are, because I'm easy come, easy go, little high, little low, which is the guy saying that he is a go with the flow type of guy. He's unaware of whether he wants to be high on drugs or whether he wants to be sober. And then the lines, anyway the wind blows, doesn't really matter to me, proves that the guy is a go with the flow type of guy. Then the piano takes center stage with the vocals being support. You might also notice bass in the song, but nobody cares about that. The next line, the vocalist says, will shock you to your core. However, I cannot reveal it before I give you this video sponsor. Nobody. I tricked you into thinking that I get sponsored so you would skip this section in particular. I'm an evil genius. Anyways, this next lyric will shock you to your core, so ears beware. The next lyric is, prepare for it. Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pull my trigger, now he's dead. Ew. That lyric probably made a lot of you cry because that is such a heavy lyric that I might get age restricted because I said kill. Well, might as well continue. I've already started anyways. So anyways, the story's already being told. The guy just killed a man with a gun, and now sorry. This guy just killed a man with a gun, and now he's wondering if he's wondering if he is even himself, and is contemplating whether or not this is even a real situation. Then comes, Mama, life had just begun, and now I've gone and thrown it all away. which you can also hear the drums coming in around this point. And yeah, this represents the protagonist coming to terms with the fact that their life isn't going to ever be the same ever again. They know what's coming to them, but they don't know if they'll be able to handle what's coming to them. And the singer says, Mama, ooh, didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back again tomorrow, carry on as if nothing really matters. Which is the protagonist realizing that he may never get to see his own mother again. Unless there's an afterlife and they can meet again. Chances are, though, he may be hated by his own mother, because in case you didn't know or just straight up forgot, he just killed a man with a gun. Who wouldn't hate their child killed someone? We also hear, we do hear drums taking center stage alongside the piano. We hear the bass as well, but nobody cares about that. Then the piano guides us back to the calm before the next burst of energy the singer sings. And after this lyric calming couple bars, we hear "Too late, my time has come," which could be a representation of him realizing he ordered a watch and it arrived too late. But nobody's going to interpret it like that. So instead, we'll say that his time for living is running very short. That seems more plausible, considering that we had already established that he killed a man with a gun. Plus, it could also imply that his watch was too late, but we established there's no watch. Then he sings, "Sends shivers down my spine, body's aching all the time," which implies that this waiting for his death is hurting him physically. Ooh, alright. Now that we got him to say. And then, now that we established everything, he then says, "Goodbye, everybody, I've got to go, gotta leave you all behind and face the truth." Which is just another euphemism for him knowing that his execution is approaching and that he might have to prepare to meet his fate, but who knows if he'll see what heaven is like beyond the gate. The next lines of lyrics include, "Mama, ooh, I don't want to die. I sometimes wish I'd never been born at all," which is another heavy line. You see, the protagonist at this point is extremely aware of his fate, but he still hasn't accepted it at this point. He also wishes he'd never been born so he didn't have to deal with the situation. You can also hear the background vocals say "Anyway the wind blows" during the mama that comes in right around the "I don't want to die, sometimes I wish I'd never been born at all" part. Yeah. This is very much a reference to how the situation is, being how the wind blew on this particular day. It's also a callback to the beginning of the song where they say, "Anyway the wind blows doesn't really matter to me," which is starting to sound less true as the song progresses. So, yeah, there's that. Then the guitar enters with the solo. You can get the energy of the protagonist of not knowing what to do now he has this certain fate ahead of him. The solo also seems to give off the same energy as whatever a teenager feels as soon as they're legally an adult and are become able to do whatever they want given their situation. And this hits further home today than it would have in a different time period. The solo transitions to the second section of the song, which will be played once you like this video and subscribe to this channel. Did you do it? Alright, moving on. So the second section starts with the protagonist in court. How do I know? I don't know. Go ask God why he gave me the power of omnipotence. So the section starts with the piano in a much more energetic tone, signifying the situation becoming more intense as the protagonist's life is being put on the line. I mean, he didn't just kill someone with a gun. Then we hear, "I see a little silhouette of a man, Scaramouche, we do the fandango. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me." which represents the protagonist being found guilty and everything becoming a singular moment for the protagonist as the world seems to fall out from under his feet, sealing his fate as a guilty murderer who was merciless as he pulled the trigger at that very moment. We also hear Galileo being repeated a bunch before Galileo Figaro Magnifico, which further solidifies the chaos that the protagonist perceives. Then the protagonist states, "I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me," which is followed by, "He's just a poor boy from a poor family, spare him and his life from the monstrosity," which is the protagonist trying to use sympathy points in the gallery, also trying to help him because they know his situation apparently. Yes, I'm no courtroom doctor or anything like that. The protagonist then asks, "Easy come, easy go, will you let me go?" as if he had a choice of living in the first place. I also get a call back to when he was easy come, easy go, meaning a go with the flow type of ordeal. Then something heartbreaking happens, but I'll reveal it after our sponsor, water. Drink it, turn it into other liquids like soda, plant food with it, use it for hydraulics. It does everything. It's the reason you exist in the first place. How amazing is that? Drinking water will hydrate you, allowing you to potentially feel better. Stay hydrated, everyone. Anyways, it's time for a heartbreaking moment. The judge and jury state, "Bismillah, no, we will not let you go." And the gallery shouts, "Let him go." Before the judge and jury state, "Bismillah, we will not let you go." The gallery shouts, "Let him go." Before the judge and jury state, "Bismillah, we will not let you go." The gallery shouts, "Let me go." And before the judge and jury state, "Will not let you go." The gallery shouts, "Let me go." Before the judge and jury state, "Will not let you go." There seems to be an endless cycle before you hear never repeated before you hear "let me go." Then the word "no" is repeated 7 times. This is a reference to Bali's Basics in Education and Learning, where you have to collect 7 notebooks before escaping the schoolhouse. Much like beating Bali's Basics in Education and Learning, it seems impossible for the protagonist to escape this situation. Then you'll hear "Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia, let me go." And because you've heard that phrase a bunch of times, you'll wonder if the protagonist will ever escape the situation alive. Then you hear everyone singing "Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me," which makes it seem like there will be a resolve for the protagonist at this very moment. All the instruments do it. It also references Beelzebub, which is one of the devils that live in hell. You know, one of the places of the Christian afterlife. Wow. Who would have thought that Christianity would be a part of a review of a Queen song? That's weird. The third section comes in about immediately after the Beelzebub line finishes. But that's mostly because the last "me" is sung for a couple of seconds, which, if you've been singing along to the song up to that point, can be quite an ask to sing along to for some people. Not me, though, because I'm an expert at singing this song in particular. Practice makes perfect. Anyways, this starts out with a few measures of a swing guitar rhythmic riff filled with high and mighty music theory gurus telling you that this section, instead of being in 4/4, which the entire song up to that point was, or 12/12, which would make sense here, is actually in 12/8, despite the fact that there are 12 12th notes and not 12 8th notes. Yes, I know in reality 12 notes are 8-note triplets, but that doesn't mean we don't have a name for the 8th note triplets, especially since that name is actually 12th notes. For the average non-music theory person to understand a bit better, I'd say Schizo by 12 would be a better representation of 12/8. despite the fact that it has way more time signature changes than Bohemian Rhapsody could ever dream of. And if you're gonna say, oh, what about 6/4? Spanish Fly by Van Halen is right there with its intro. Anyways, with that rant out of the way, there are some real lyrics in the section which I'll tell you after. You tell me in the comments what you think about this video so far. Alright, did you do it? Alright, moving on. The first lyric here is, so you think you can stone me and spit in my eye? Which could be him being angry that he had been put in the situation despite the fact that he was free from the death sentence. Either that or he did get the death sentence and nobody was able to free him from a certain fate. And I guess, so you think you can love me and leave me to die? Which could mean that he probably got the death sentence. Either that or he was free, that his own family wasn't there to vouch for him during court, meaning that they probably wanted to teach him a lesson, even if that meant forcing him into the death penalty, which would be pretty bad considering that dead people can't retain any information that from any lessons they were taught, unless reincarnation actually is real. And I'm not crazy for remembering that one specific scene from my previous life. Sorry, what did I say? Anyways, then he says, oh baby, you can't do this to me, baby, just gotta get out, just gotta get right out of here. This is the protagonist at his lowest point. The protagonist might have indeed got the death penalty if this is what's being given to me for analysis. Who knows though? There's no correct interpretation for the song according to Queen. So, we get more instrumentation, which anyone could interpret in any way. Get more oohs and yahs before transitioning into the outro, which I think might be the most similar to the pre-chorus section that we see in the song, other than the pre-chorus section. The piano is the main focus of the outro, which wraps up this song nicely. It's got a very similar melody to the pre-chorus section, so yeah. We hear the protagonist probably much later in life saying, nothing really matters, anyone can see, nothing really matters to me, which is the protagonist finally admitting defeat as he ends up dead. Whether or not this death was from the death penalty is up to interpretation, since Queen never confirmed anything on this song, making analysis harder. The piano has a few more notes with a BPM so inconsistent that makes even the most inconsistent person seem consistent relative to this. And then we have the return of Any Way the Wind Blows, which is a callback to the beginning of the song where they say any way the wind blows doesn't really matter, when now, because he's probably dead, it doesn't matter to him anymore. So, yeah, now that the protagonist's life is over, we can hear the faint sound of a gong in the background, signaling that, much like the life of the protagonist, the song is over. And, yeah, that's the song, alright. So yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody, what do you think of the song? Let me know, and if you like this video, like, and if you want to subscribe. You can change your mind at any moment, but don't. We all know exactly what's gonna happen. Anyways, yeah. So with that being said, this entire analysis is just basically, yeah, there's no interpretation, and thus I'm just giving you what I think. Oh look, we're already past the 10-minute mark, meaning I can put ads in here. Ad break at the end, maybe? Maybe. Alright, bye.